welcome back to Laurence McKenna channel. It is a great weekend as we head over to Wembley as Liverpool and Chelsea fans, but obviously hugely as Liverpool fans. It's good to be back in that cup. It's good to be back in that, hey, this is one of those things where if we win it, we can kick on and do the rest of the season. But it's a bit of a weird time for Liverpool, strange time, Chelsea on the comeback up. Let's preview all of that. Thank you, by the way, to Liverpool, who sent me this t-shirt in celebration of the cup final weekend. This jacket, which I will use in the rain, and these are my favourite things, right? These warm-up jerseys, these are the best thing. Thermal on the inside, amazing for five-a-side, amazing for training. They're great. I'm thinking to give these away on my Patreon. If you want to join the Patreon, you're more than welcome to as a Liverpool fan. I've got a couple of jerseys away to give away as well, so head over there if you've not already done it. If you just want to get in on Discord and you can't afford to do a Patreon or whatever, then you're more than welcome, but I will be giving those away on the Patreon. Anyway, it is a good weekend to be a Liverpool fan this weekend. We get to watch Man City and Arsenal the day before the final. Obviously, either way, Liverpool will still be top of the league this weekend. Doesn't guarantee they'll always be top of the league for the rest of the season, but it's still a nice feeling going into a cup final, knowing there is some sort of ascendancy there. And then, of course, we're coming up against Chelsea, a team who in recent months, in recent years, we've got a bit of a history with. 2 cup finals, obviously, during the season that we did the quad, beat them both times, but actually drew against them both times, struggled to score over 180 or however many, 240 minutes or whatever it is. So for that reason, there is always this, competition between the two of us. You know, Liverpool have got that long-standing history with Chelsea, and in recent years, I think Liverpool have managed to get the upper hand. But even then, Liverpool have been a bit of a turning point team for a few teams this season. We beat Arsenal in the FA Cup. Arsenal have been credible ever since. We beat Chelsea 4-1 at Anfield. Since, they've found a bit of an identity. And I think there's times where you see Liverpool's level, big teams play them and they go, wow, we've got to up our level even more. We've got to be this perfect. They learn things tactically and then kind of come back and that bites Liverpool. I'm wondering if that's what's going to happen here, especially considering how many injuries Liverpool have. Whilst actually Chelsea's injury list is still pretty long, it's got the Cucureas in there, the Silvers, Badiashile, Chukwuemekers, Fofana, James, and obviously some of the younger guys as well. They've barely even played Lavia this season. Liverpool have also got a pretty long injury list. Thiago Alcantara is obviously still out. Bajcetic is still out. Curtis Jones, Diogo Jota, going down this list, Joel Matip, and obviously Darwin Núñez. A couple of those guys getting assessed right up until game day. There is that shot in the training ground of Darwin Núñez possibly getting in there on training or getting in on some sort of team briefing. Maybe, just maybe, there is a chance that we get him in on this final. And you know what? It's kind of interesting to assess whether we would need him. Obviously, you always want an incredible striker, someone who can bring in a bit of a change, can bring in a bit of energy, can switch around a number of positions, especially if we don't have Jota, if we might not have Salah. Would Cody Gakpo, Elliott and Diaz be the same intimidating lineup as possibly Núñez, Diaz and Elliott, or Núñez, Diaz and Gakpo? What can Liverpool work on? Would Szoboszlai possibly sneak back into this side? There's a number of players out for Liverpool, is what I'm saying. Key players. And even though they beat Liverpool beat Luton very confidently earlier in the week in the second half, the first half still showed that if you play the right tactics, you can undermine the Liverpool team, especially if they don't have momentum with them. Speaking of momentum, this is an attacking momentum graph from the start of the season, the game that I was at Stamford Bridge, where Liverpool were still finding their feet. Very rarely it was a lot of counter-attacking in that game. I can't really say that attacking momentum really represented everything that went on in that game, but Chelsea generally had the upper hand. It was a more solid Pochettino side. It was a side that I think Pochettino had managed to get a little bit of training into, and Klopp was still kind of finding, we bought quite a few new midfielders. It felt like a really different vibe at that time. The club was still a bit unsure of what we were going to be that season, and we hadn't quite clicked. Salah was still getting that amazing assist to Diaz, but then they came down the other end. They had a few times where I think they had a goal chalked off. It was a game where we weren't as confident as we maybe should have been. But then if you look at this, they were really on the front foot in this game. And look how, Virgil van Dijk's average position, that's such a weird average position to see Virgil van Dijk in this season. We played those 2 wide wingers, kind of like a false 9 in Jota, but also we had Szoboszlai doing quite a lot of work out there. And we were still trying to find our shape. Cody Gakpo was in midfield, and McAllister was playing like an unusual 6. We saw Trent and Robbo at that point as well. But they were a little bit more on the front foot. They had, and I think I was on the train yesterday back from Birmingham. Look at the vlog, I was up there with Mark Goldbrudge. They had a midfield that was quite confident at that point, right? They had Gallagher, Enzo, I don't think Caicedo was in that side at that point. We were kind of losing out in the transfer to them at that point. And then up front, like there were quite a few like really interesting people, basically. And then at the same time, you know what is fascinating, right? Sorry, I didn't want to bring that up. They had Levi Colwill playing on like a left centre-back type vibe, which is they're kind of like a back three here. And then Chile was just playing all the way down the wing. Ben Chilwell was all the way down the wing. Look how wide he is out there. Pretty impressive position to see him playing in the first place. And then James was also pretty advanced. They've not really done that in the same way since. Like, obviously, Chilwell's still very advanced there when they came to Anfield. Sorry, he was not very advanced. And then on the other side, again, not really very advanced there. Earlier on in the season, they were definitely a lot more confident. I wonder if they're going to play that or kind of flip that back a little bit. If you think about the way that they play against Man City, or you think the way they were playing even just more confidently against a couple of other teams, I'd just be interested to see if they just go, look, it's a final, we've got to flip it up a little bit. We can't afford to just kind of continually just be stepped all over by Liverpool, which is what this attacking momentum graph indicates. Liverpool were just dominant for almost the whole time at Anfield. And it felt as if Liverpool had found a lot more of their identity. Of course, our starting 11 was also quite different at that point. Up front, Diaz, Nunez, Jota, two of those guys possibly out in this one, but Conor Bradley had an amazing game. But I'm kind of going to make the case here for Conor Bradley to start in this game. I think the back line will definitely have Kelleher in it because Alisson is out until after the international break, which obviously means we're going to go into this period needing a goalkeeper who we can be confident in it. I think Kelleher would have started anyway, but still, we want to try and extol the virtues of this young goalkeeper, shall we say. And you know what? He's grown in confidence. I think they will try and pepper him. I think they will try and challenge him. They'll try and get a lot of balls back across goal to head it in like Luton did. Also, like a couple of other teams have done. I think seeing that late goal that they had in the game also kind of undermined a bit of confidence in our back line, but we were so far ahead at that point, it didn't really matter. I think we will play Konate. I think we will play Virgil van Dijk. I think we will play Bradley. And I think we might play Gomez in this game as well. I know it's a weird one, but we'll see. I just feel like if we're going to play Bradley, we need a little bit of solidity on the other side. And I just wonder if because of all the injuries and everything else, we can't afford really to have... We can't afford to have an off game against these guys. Anyway, midfield, definitely got to be Endo, definitely got to be McAllister, probably won't be Curtis, probably Ryan Gravenberch, possibly Cody Gakpo plays and drops a little bit deeper. But we'll see what the orientation is. Liverpool definitely wanted to be a lot more front foot in the game at Anfield than this one. I'm wondering if we play more like a formation like this, where you got like a Gakpo much deeper, and then Diaz and like a Harvey Elliott, who was he wasn't man of the match, but he was very good in the game against Luton. And then if Szoboszlai is fit, which we still don't know, I think we will play him, maybe instead of Gravenberch. Definitely frees up a lot of people on that right-hand side, definitely makes us feel a lot less nervous about whatever it is that we're trying to do on that side with a Harvey Elliott. By the way, if we were to play Harvey Elliott, that would also mean he can rotate with Szoboszlai. Szoboszlai goes wide. Sometimes Elliott goes a little bit more inside. Bradley coming over on the outside or coming up the inside of Szoboszlai or whoever. I really like that, and I really want to challenge that back line that really suffered in this last game, was playing super deep. And you can see they just keep getting pushed back and back and back. It's basically a back four that's slightly skewed over, but let's face it, they barely got out their own half in that game. I think if they have a Jackson fit, I think if they have a couple of their attackers fit, we're going to see a very different, more confident Chelsea team, especially after what they did against Man City. What they did against Man City was impressive, but they've been kind of doing that for a couple of games now. Let's be honest about it. Chelsea have looked like they've been gradually improving, and they've beaten some big names more recently. So I don't see why they wouldn't be confident. I think the interesting thing for us is obviously we love a Wembley trip. It's the end of the season with Klopp. It's the last season with Klopp. We've got 7 more home games at Anfield or something. You can feel the time beginning to tick down. This team feel like sometimes they realise oh, this is the last dance we're going to get here. Let's get out there and perform. You would hope that Liverpool can blow them away. I think it's going to be much closer than that. Poch is really good at locking down finals. I mean, obviously he hasn't historically against Liverpool, but it's a very different team, very different time, and they were just so exhausted after the Champions League and everything that happened that season. I think we'll see a Pochettino who's probably out for a little bit of revenge here. Personally, he's going to play a team that's going to be really hard to break down. They're going to try and dominate in the midfield. Enzo, Caicedo, Gallagher. It's a lot of bodies for Endo to try to track. It's a lot of bodies. They're probably going to need someone like a Szoboszlai in there. They're probably going to need someone like a McAllister in there. much more solid. That's much more, combative, should we say. McAllister's a real smart tackler, really harrying the opposition. When he tries to win the ball back, it's not always him that wins it, but he wins it. Or what the Liverpool win it, and then the same for Endo, and then that'll free up a Szoboszlai or someone else like that on the opposite side. We'll possibly even see Szoboszlai coming a little bit deeper, allow McAllister to go into that 10 area. We'll see what Liverpool do here. I think they're going to try and go a little bit wider and then bring on Núñez later on if they have to. And I think they're really going to go in for people like Bradley. Bradley had a great game against Chelsea last time. We'll see what happens. Chelsea will have learned a lot from that Anfield game. I really want to win it for Klopp. I'm going to be there. So come find me. I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to call it. I think Cody Gakpo scores. I think Bradley pushes them close. I think Luis Diaz scores. I think they will score. What they've got is like this kind of, Gallagher plays near Sterling, and then you've got I love Cole Palmer. I think he's just such a great player. But I think it's going to be interesting to see what they can do with whatever it is that they play out on that right-hand side. What are they going to do against Gomez? Do you really want to waste almost a body out there, or do you want to kind of push that over to the other side or push through the middle? I think if they're going to go anywhere, they're going to go through the middle. They're going to try and drive at Liverpool, put Endo on the back foot, put McAllister on the back foot, and try and get into as little confrontation with Liverpool as possible, because Konate and Van Dijk love being on the front foot. It also puts a lot more pressure on Kelleher if they do that. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments below. I'd love to know what you guys think. If you see me on Sunday, come say hi. You're more than welcome to. Obviously, I'm not assuming you want to take a picture or whatever, but I'd love to chat to people. And I would take pictures with people if people did want a picture. I have historically done that. Of course, don't forget the Patreon. This will be on there, as will this. These weren't given to me as prizes, but I need to model them first, and then I'll send them to whoever. It's not that I'm not grateful for them. It's not that I don't love them. It's just that I feel I already have a lot of Liverpool stuff. I'm very lucky. I get gifted a lot of stuff anyway. And frankly, I feel like there are a lot of people out there who probably will love this just as much as I will, and it helps grow our community. And ultimately, I care more about growing a Liverpool community online than I do about just my fashion sense. So yeah, come along. If you haven't already hit subscribe, hit it down there, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Probably tomorrow. Enjoy the game. Much love. Bye.